Hi, welcome to the 2020 Wine, Women, and Shoes event. My name is Kelly Douglas. I'm the president and CEO of Voices for Children, and we are so happy that you're joining us here today. Even though current circumstances have required us to gather virtually, the purpose of today's event remains the same, which is to support our community's children in foster care. They need us now more than ever. Through this COVID-19 experience, all of us are looking for different silver linings. And one silver lining that I've found from this event is that we get to have this event here in our training room here at Voices for Children. We are all practicing social distancing. We all have our masks here. There are only a couple of us here, but we are pleased to be able to host this event here in the space where hundreds of our CASA volunteers and trainees to become CASAs learn critical information and acquire skills in order to help support our kids in the foster care system. So thank you for joining us here in our training room here in Kearney Mesa. There will come a time when we are able to gather here in person again, but in the meantime, our training team has done an exceptional job converting all of those programs virtually so that we can continue the good work of our volunteers. So our organization is so grateful for each of you. We need your financial support more than ever. And so we're really delighted to have this event here this weekend. We're going to be with you live here on Facebook at various times throughout the rest of the weekend. And we're going to have some guests in to teach you about our programs and share with you some of the exciting work that we were doing, and also to talk about some wonderful opportunities for you to participate to help support Voices for Children and our foster youth. In order to participate in the event, if you haven't done so already, you can log on to our website, which is at speakupnow.org/WWS. Hit participate now, and it will take you into the event webpage. Once you get into the event webpage, you're going to see a lot of different ways that you can support the event. One is by donating to Fund a Casa. You also can bid on wonderful live auction items, some wonderful silent auction items. There are a lot of different opportunities to buy wine. You can buy that now, and then there are some wines that you can bid on in the silent auction. And then we also encourage you to participate in our marketplace. We're very fortunate to have some small and local businesses that support our community's foster children by sharing some of their proceeds with Voices for Children through this event. So if during these trying times you want to both help Voices for Children and help some of our local small businesses, that's a wonderful way to do it. We're especially grateful for the Breton Foundation. Breton Family Foundation has generously agreed to match every donation contributed over the course of the weekend up to $100,000. So Patty and Mark, thank you so much for your generosity. They have been incredible supporters of Voices for Children for many years, and we're very, very thankful for that, that way of encouraging others to give and know that when you give, your gift will be doubled because of the Bretons. So thank you. We do have even more thank yous to make today. First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't start off with our chairs for the event, Marina Morelli and Patty Breton. If you haven't done so already, you can go onto our event webpage and see a video with a welcome and a greeting from Marina and Patty. Marina and Patty have supported Voices for Children in so many ways for many, many years. They're passionate about our community's foster youth and making a difference in the lives of these kids. So thank you, Patty and Marina, for all you've done to help support the event today. We also are very fortunate to have 18 different members of our Honorary Committee whose names are listed here on the screen next to me. We have current and former board members. We have other community members who all really care about our CASA program and the special way in which we provide advocacy and consistency to the kids that we serve. Thank you to our Honorary Committee. I also want to thank our event sponsors. We have 3 of them: Cadence Travel Services, Capstone Advisors, and Dance Co. Later on in this weekend, I'll share a little bit more of the story of each of them. We're so grateful for them and for stepping up in these difficult times for everyone and showing their commitment to really giving back and making a difference through Voices for Children. We also have some amazing InKind sponsors who also are listed here on the screen next to me: Boochcraft, Kula, Glendalough Distillery, Golden Door Spa, and a variety of wine sponsors whose names are listed. Thank you to all of you. I also want to give a special thanks to our board of directors. We have a large group of community members who serve as amazing volunteers on our board. And for many years, they have been very committed to supporting the organization in many ways. But when we face a challenge like COVID-19, I think that's where we really see the importance of a board of directors that appreciates its fiduciary responsibility to the organization and that emphasizes the need for excellent governance practices. And I'm so grateful to have seen all of those attributes come out in our board in really special ways in the last couple months, when every organization has been dealing with the response to COVID-19 and its aftermath, figuring out how we pivot in our programs so that we can continue to offer services in a special way to our kids and support our volunteers, and also just deal with other organizational matters. So we're very grateful. Many of you are probably familiar with Voices for Children, but some of you may not know much about what we do. So I want to give you a basic overview of our program. So our mission at Voices for Children is to provide a volunteer, specially trained advocate, a court-appointed special advocate, a CASA as we call them, to every foster child in San Diego's foster care system who needs one. And we do that by matching our CASAs to a child or to a sibling set when they enter foster care after they have been removed from their home due to abuse, neglect, or abandonment. Of course, this is a scary time in these kids' lives. It's a time when they have a lot of people coming in and out of their lives, and they need a consistent adult presence more than ever. And so the role of our CASAs is to be an advocate for the children. And they're able to do that because the court appoints them to the children, and they have access then to confidential information about the kids. They get to know the needs of the kids by spending time with the kids. They also spend time with the circle of people who are in the kids' lives: teachers, social workers, attorneys, healthcare professionals, biological parents, caregivers, and other providers. And they use all that information in order to prepare regular reports to the court at regularly scheduled hearings to help give the judges a full picture of the child's needs, so the judges have as much information as possible when they're making important decisions about the kid's future. But our CASA's advocacy does not stop in the courtroom. Our CASAs also regularly advocate for our kids in the classroom and elsewhere in the community to make sure that for the duration of their time in the foster care system, their needs are met. We here at Voices for Children this year have served all 3,400 children in San Diego's foster care system. We've done that through more than 1,000 CASA advocates who have provided CASA advocacy to almost 1,600 children. We've provided support to the remaining kids either through advocacy provided by our staff members or by monitoring the cases of the kids who have lower needs to make sure that if their needs change and they need the advocacy of a CASA, that we can bump them up in that queue. One thing I love about being part of Voices for Children is to hear people talk about how they describe CASAs and what their roles are. Earlier this year, I had the delight of being in around a number of the court staff. And I was having a conversation with one of the bailiffs who works in the Meadowlark, one of the Meadowlark courtrooms. There are 5 dependency courts in Meadowlark where they hear all the foster care cases. And as you might imagine, those are pretty difficult spaces to work in because of the nature of the issues that they are dealing with. So when I was having this wonderful conversation with the bailiff and talking about his job and the challenges that he sees, he learned that I was with Voices for Children. He immediately lit up and he said, "I love your CASAs. Whenever a CASA walks into the courtroom, it's like a ray of sunshine has entered the room." And oh, how true. So for us at Voices for Children, it truly is an honor to be able to provide this platform where, amidst some of the most difficult and trying circumstances and cases, our volunteers can find some of those snippets of joy to add some normalcy to our kids' lives that we serve, and also to provide a picture to our judges and to others that these are kids who want to be able to live happy, normal lives and need the support and care of a consistent, stable adult presence in their lives. So we're so grateful that our CASAs often can play that role. So I'm very pleased now to be able to share with you some information from our program side. I'm going to invite Stephen Moore to come in and chat with you for a bit. Stephen is our Chief Program Officer. He's been at Voices for Children for 12 years, but Stephen has spent his entire career supporting the needs of kids who are at risk and who need the support and care of our community. And so we're so lucky to have Stephen as part of our team. The first thing that that Stephen's going to talk to you about is how COVID-19 has impacted children in foster care, because those impacts have been significant. Second, he's going to also talk about how our CASAs have stepped up in amazing ways to help our foster children and foster youth overcome so many of the challenges that are unique to these times that we're living in right now. But before he starts, I have asked Stephen to talk to you a little bit about what his why is. Why is he at Voices for Children? Why is this work important to him? And what really motivates him each and every day? So I'm going to step off to the side, and then Stephen's going to join you. Stephen Moore.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Welcome, everyone, to Wine, Women, and Shoes. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to just kind of kick off and get started as to my why. Why am I at Voices for Children? Well, it's pretty simple. A long time ago, I told myself that I wanted to find something that's really meaningful to do with my life. I wanted to be part of an organization that is bigger than myself, and I wanted to be a part of an organization that puts children first always, and that cherishes their volunteers, that works really well with their staff, that the staff works as a team. And that is all the things that brought me to Voices for Children. And those are all the things that have kept me at Voices for Children and that I fell in love with about this organization over the years. As far as the impacts of COVID-19, we know that this virus has been so significant in all of our lives and has really spared no one. And the foster children are really, there's really no exception there either. First, let's talk about some of the three main areas that we're focusing on for our children. We know that children are in foster care that because they've been abused or neglected, abandoned, having experienced this trauma, they face greater barriers to develop in their development than their peers. Their lives have already been turned upside down by entering new homes, meeting new attorneys and new social workers, and essentially having everything that they once knew turned upside down, which can create some real long-term developmental challenges that we will continue to advocate on behalf of our children to prevent. Second, children in foster care are disproportionately affected by economic disparities. And that would include the impacts of all of those disparities would include homelessness, food deprivation. And these are the things that really, when it comes to food insecurity, when it comes to homelessness, that our CASAs are really good about working with our children and helping our children find a way out of those situations as soon as possible. Third, we know that the child welfare system is seeing a staggering decrease in the reports that are going to the child abuse hotline. Almost 50% is what has been reported here in San Diego, and that is also a number that is consistent with state and federal numbers. What's happening, though, is at a first glance, you might think, well, that's a wonderful thing. Abuse may be reducing. But what we know is actually happening is that the mandated reporters, the teachers, the coaches, the piano instructors, all of the folks, the childcare workers, our CASAs, all of the folks that are involved in these children's lives every day and see them and are able to assess these children with their own ears and their own eyes, are not able to be with them right now. And so what we're expecting to have happen is we're expecting that there will be a huge decrease in the numbers of children entering care once mandated reporters become back a part of their everyday life, once children return to school, or even get out and about in the community and start being around other responsible adults. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about what our CASAs are doing in response, what our staff's doing in response to this pandemic. As Kelly is, and I'm sure many of you who know this organization well are, we just all continue to be in awe over the endless creativity demonstrated by our CASA volunteers and staff. So many innovative things that our volunteers are doing to continue to be there for our children, just as they've committed to when starting on this journey, taking that oath of commitment and getting their first court orders and assignment on their case. I think that CASAs just continue to make it a priority to reach out to their children weekly, even some CASAs daily we're aware of, to check in on our children, have conversations, virtual visits, to ensure our children that they know that they're important, that they're not alone. CASAs that continue to be a positive presence and influence, encouraging our kids to try their best despite their fears, their frustrations, to stay engaged with their distance learning, to remain in their placements without behavior issues or AWOLing, which we know will just make matters worse for them and so much more complicated. To be patient, encouraging our kids to be understanding of others during this challenging time, to think positively, and continue to be the brave kids that we know they are. CASAs that have ensured their students have the tools they need to learn, the basic needs like food, housing, stability, and even security that we want all children to have when they're encountered with such trauma and such unknown. CASAs that have coordinated virtual visits with their children between their siblings that may be placed apart so that they can continue to have that close bond and that relationship that all siblings should be able to have. Our CASAs have done such remarkable things for our children during this time throughout this pandemic. Our CASAs continue to impress all of us here at Voices for Children. We are here to support them with everything they need to continue their advocacy. And in every way, they have just amazed us all at how they continue to persevere through this difficult time. So I just want to thank everyone, encourage everyone to keep that financial support coming. We very much appreciate it. And we are so happy that you could join us here with Wine, Women, and Shoes. And we hope everybody enjoys the virtual event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. It's such an honor to be able to work with a staff and a team like Stephen. We have so many wonderful people. We're sitting here in this training room where on the wall next to me is a painting of our core values. And the first two core values are that we cherish children and we put them first always, and that we're grateful for our dedicated and selfless volunteers. And I think you could hear from Stephen how those two core values really infuse everything that we do here at Voices for Children. So Stephen, thank you so much. So back to the event, I encourage you to go to the website. Another video that is a must-see, if you haven't looked at it already, is the video where CASA Sarah tells her story about the youth that she has been with for 5 years now. It's just an incredible, inspiring story, and it's just one of literally hundreds of examples of situations in which our CASAs are really making difference in the lives of these kids. I want to thank our sponsors again. Tomorrow, we're going to have 2 Facebook Live sessions. The first one is going to be at 1 p.m. It is one not to miss because we are going to have one of our program managers interview 2 of our incredible CASAs. And so I hope that you will be able to tune in for that. And then tomorrow at 6 p.m., we will have auctioneer Clint Bell with us to share some information about our live auction items and get you excited about that. Again, many thanks to the Breton Family Foundation for their generous match for every dollar donated up to $100,000. We're so grateful. We need you. We need your support. Our kids need your support. And we're just so grateful that you've spent your time here to learn a little bit about Voices for Children and how you can make a difference. Thanks, and we will see you tomorrow.